Viewing the London scene from a distance of 260 miles through the lens of the music papers, perception and reality didn't always match up. We held the Roxy in our minds to be some sort of mythical place, and we're really excited to be playing there. 7 hours in the back of a Luton-style box van with Ray Kelly driving, sitting on equipment that was sliding about, wasn't the safest or most comfortable way to travel. We distracted and amused ourselves with Ray's portable battery-operated record player, with Buzzcock's Spiral Scratch and the recently released 7-inch White Riot 1977. By The Clash. Gary Smallman would sing Nights in the Cellar instead of 1977, mimicking Joe Strummer's serious and impassioned voice. Our spirits were high, or at least they were, until the batteries ran out and we reached our destination, which was an inevitable letdown. It wasn't Disneyland. That was what we thought of the Roxy. It's more than that, but you know, you will have to read it for yourself. So, so we were doing support gigs, and we had a manager in the local record shop, and you know, everyone was on the hoof at that time. We were all absolute chances, I can tell you that. You know, there was nothing premeditated about any of it. It was rough. Anyway, we heard back from Virgin and they said, yes, we'll do some demos, and they put us into a London studio called Virtual Earth, and we recorded the songs that are now on that Race Against Time album. They were all done there, and then from that, Virgin said, we'll do a one-off single, and it's that Don't Dictate. And we went, oh God, why have they picked that one? Like, it's like, we'd already written new ones by them. We went, oh God. Anyway, they assigned their own house producer, who was from Gong, Mike Howlett. And we joked about whether he would turn up in a tea cozy, and he didn't. And it was recorded in Pebble Beach in Worthing, of all places, so we drove all the way down. So that was released sort of November 77, so we were doing pretty well for like, we all still had day jobs. So every time we were supporting people, we got back at like 5 in the morning and then went to work at 9. And then we were asked to support the Doctors of Madness, and it was not that long since we were like in the audience, and now we were on the stage and supporting them, and it was all starting to get too much, you know, we couldn't keep it up, and by the end of that year, there was some falling out with the manager, and we were doing a gig in Barrow. The Jam was supposed to be doing it, and they didn't turn up, so we did it, and made a good job of it. The promoter was on the phone the next day to a London management company called Quarry Productions. They managed Status Quo and Rory Gallagher, proper Tin Pan Alley, Wardour Street officers, fleet of cars, God knows. And the guy, John Arneson, was really keen and came up to Ferry Hill and, you know, said, I think you're great, like, offered us a contract, and we signed it without even having it looked at. We didn't know where to go to have it looked at. So in the end, we all just signed it. We didn't know whether it was good or bad. We sensed that it was very bad, but we still signed it anyway, not to hold things up. So as 1978 approached, we were named as one of the bands to watch out for on the front of Sounds, and along with other bands, It's in the Book. And as the year sort of started, Gary started to get distracted, and we recorded Firing Squad, but Virgin weren't going to do it. Our management company paid for us to do it, and then Gary dropped the bombshell that he wanted to leave the band, and we had a tour of Italy coming up, which he did, but that was, you know, everyone was starting to get really sick of him by then. And like, when we got back, there was something else happened, and that was it for him. So we had a friend, Neil, Neil and his girlfriend, and he taught Neil the guitar parts, so within a week we just got Neil in. We had a tour coming up with Buzzcocks. Neil had never been in a band in his life, never played guitar with anyone, and so we took him into the studio, and he raised Gary Chaplin's solo, so cruel, isn't it? And Neil filled the gap in, and he was in the band, so off we went. Now, 1978, when you read the book, I can't remember which chapter it is, but things really start to gather momentum, and I kept a diary for 1978, a Boots diary for the whole of 1978, so I know what I did every day, which was a really good resource for the book. What I thought of it, what I thought of the audience, what I thought of the manager, what I thought of all of it. And it was very frank and honest. It was a 20-year-old's account, and so I did use that in that particular chapter. We toured with Buzzcocks, and then we did our own tour. We'd all packed our jobs in by this point. That was at the end of '77, and so everything just sped up. And we were gonna. Virgin hadn't said that they would do an album yet. We were doing lots of live gigs constantly. We had a really good live following, but it didn't seem to make any difference. We still had no one wanting to put our records out. And Virgin said, we think they need another musician. Well, what sort? You know, a keyboard player. It wasn't specified. So we thought, right, okay, we'll take this on. But where we lived, there wasn't exactly a pool of musicians, and Gary suggested Fred Purser, who had curly hair, was a guitar virtuoso, definitely wasn't punk. But we took him into the band in about 3 days, and we had to play the marquee, and Virgin were coming to see whether they were going to sign us or not. It was June the 21st, it was midsummer of '78, and we were playing the marquee. It was packed, it was so hot, and we walked on, and Fred was there, and all the fans went, oh my God, heavy metal, what they're doing, don't like him. Got halfway through the set, Gary on the drums was flagging, he walked off, Rob went off, dragged him back on, we finished the set, came off, Rob and Gary were in a corner fighting, like just fighting each other. And in walks the Virgin guy, like, my God, what's going on here? And turned out that they wanted to sign us, so that's how the night we got our deal with Virgin. And very soon afterwards, we were recording our first album with Mike Howlett and Mick Glossop. And they really brought the best out of it all. We'd really accelerated, we pushed our envelope, we'd really come on a lot from where we'd started. It was a massive learning curve and all the rest. So yeah, we did Moving Targets, and then the following year we never stopped touring, we just constantly doing gigs, and it's all in the book. I'm getting the ferry home, I've absolutely had enough of this. Do they think I'm a machine? And I've had, you know, it was just all of that. So at 79, I did have a diary, but it wasn't filled in every day, and it incorporated an American tour, and it incorporated the recording of the second album, and it also incorporated the fact that Neil said he wanted to leave the band when we had the tour lined up for the album. And I can't remember the reasons, but I thought, what a relief. I thought, I've had enough of this, and I don't want to carry on either. I just couldn't envisage finding other people. We were so worked that we were absolutely exhausted, and you'll read it in there, it's quite relentless. So we split up after the tour, and we found out how much we owed the management company and all of the rest of it, and I just wanted to get out. And then from that band, there was only me and Rob, the bass player, stayed together, and I did think that I wanted time off, after it all. It was so like heavy duty. You were never at home. You can read about it, but didn't give myself any time off. The year turned, me and Rob started writing together, and just had no plans, and started writing songs, and we kept John on. If he left Quarry, that was the deal, like if you leave them, then we'll have you, but if you were them, like we're out. And we got offered a John Peel session, and it's like, we haven't got a band, and we weren't expecting to have a John Peel session. This was in the March or something, but it was such a good opportunity, we had to just try and pull it out of the bag, which we did. And we got a drummer in, a guitarist, and we did the John Peel session. And it gave John ammunition to go to record companies, which took us further on. And I'm going to do one of the songs from that time, those early ones that we wrote, and I'll just sit down and do it now. Hope I can get it right.